All right, so we are going to continue with knee shield, but today we're going to look at some leg locks, leg lock entries from the knee shield. So, from the knee shield position, all of us should be pretty familiar. Oh, hold on, before we get the negative comments. All right, so from the knee shield position, the first submission that we're going to, or first leg lock that we're going to go for from here is going to be a knee bar. So all of the leg locks are going to be on this free leg here. So the first one, the way that we're going to set this up is we're going to obviously be pushing and pulling. He's going to be putting some pressure in. We're going to use our shield the best we can, block the crossface. Whenever we get the opportunity, I'm going to take my lower hand, the one that's controlling the crossface, and I'm going to dive deep underneath this leg. Once I've gone deep underneath this leg, I'm going to take this leg out and we're going to make a big circle and circle it over to his hip here. But if I just stay as I am now, I'm not really flexible enough to get this leg pushed over to that position. So what we're going to need to do is we need to come up onto the shoulder and kind of invert. So as I swing the leg around, I'm going to invert myself up onto the shoulder. So I get myself here and I'm locked in nice and tight to this leg. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this leg to push into him and I'm going to pull his knee into my chest. So I want to keep good pressure with this leg here so he's not able to just sit himself up and start flattening this leg out. So what I don't want him to be able to do is now get his knee back to the floor, get like a cross face in and just like really put some weight through, and now this pretty much sucks for me. So I want to like pull his foot off the floor and keep a good pressure with my leg. Now, to get him across to the far side for the knee bar, I need to give him some encouragement. So the way that I'm going to give him encouragement is by torquing the knee. So I'm going to keep the one in, keeping it nice and pinched and tight. Going to reach down to the heel, bend the leg, and then I'm going to start to torque it, okay? So obviously just be a little bit careful when you're training with your partner on this. Don't rip it over as hard as you can. But we're going to grip and just start to torque so it wants to move his body in this direction. My leg is going to come over the top and we're going to cross the legs down by the hip. Now, as far as the finish for the knee bar, what I want to try to do is get his toes underneath my chin so I stop the rotation. We're going to manage the heel so again he can't rotate himself out of this knee bar too easily. Pull in nice and tight and then hip in for the knee bar finish. So again here from our knee shield. When we're ready, scoop underneath. We're going to swing the leg around and invert ourselves up. Don't worry too much. If you trap his arm in there, that works out even better for me. Lock in on the leg and we're going to start to pull ourselves back and sort of like center up our hips a little bit. Reach down, grab hold of the heel. We want to make sure the leg's bent and we're going to start to pull it in on itself. So we get that torque of the knee. As we torque the knee, my partner wants to go with it. He rolls through. We control, foot underneath, lock it in, and then finish nice tight knee bar. Okay? For the first two that we're going to do that same entry where we swing the leg up over the top. So practice getting that right first. The actual torque of the leg and finishing up with the knee bar is the easy part of it. Okay? Let's have a little play. 1, 2, 3, let's go. Right, so second one, we're going to start by setting up the same way. So we're in here, underneath, swing the leg over the top. Now, you know, we were talking about like one way that he can defend this is by trying to fight his way back into the middle, get his knee to the floor and start flattening me out. So one way that we can change that up is by basing this back foot and centering our hips up to this position here. So I'm using like my shin now to push in towards my partner, and really difficult for him to like push himself, this knee back down to the floor because of the leverage that I have with the push of my leg. So all we've done is instead of kind of stay on our side and roll him over, we've centered our hips up underneath. I'm going to use my shin to push into my partner just to create a little bit of space. I'm going to bridge, I'm going to pass the leg over to the opposite side so we get to this 50-50 position. Now, depending on how hard I've shoved my partner, depends on where I'm going to look for this. So if he's still where he is right now, I'm just going to place my foot on top and I'm just going to kick my partner down to the side. Just keeping my feet like tight into the hip like this. Legs across to the far side. We're going to use our armpit just to pull the heel up into position, connect the hands, and then we're going to rotate for the finish. Obviously, always with the heel hook, being careful. Here, so we go underneath, push around. So once we get to here, we use our leg to push in, and we're going to center up and pull his knee up onto our chest. Always keeping this nice and controlled and in tight. So I'm going to push my partner away, lift my hips, and pull this across. Now sometimes with the push, my partner will fall down to the opposite side. So now getting myself across to this side is going to be really difficult. But we're just going to keep like this 50-50 position, and instead of trying to rotate to get the heel hook on the other side, we're just going to do the heel hook on the bottom side here. So we're going to post off of our head, we're going to find the heel underneath, and then we're going to bridge in and finish the heel hook here instead. So the feet position's the same. Still across that far hip, just placing on top, just keeping good control of the leg. When we're trying to find it, post off your head so it gives you space to work with, find the heel, and then turn in for the finish. So that is based on how your partner reacts in that position. We need to get him down either side, whichever side he falls to or whichever side feels easy to get him to, that's the one that we're going to finish. So one more time, in the position, underneath, swing over the top, and immediately pull your hips back to the center. Once you've got the hips back to the center, push your leg in, lift your hips, pull the leg across to the far side. Let's go for this first one. So we push down, drop him in, nice tight legs, pinch it at the hip, over the top, lock in, turn, and finish for the 50-50 heel hook. All right, be careful. Let's do it. 1, 2, 3, let's go. So the last one we're gonna do, we're gonna do it because it's slightly more safe than the first two that we did. When I say safe, whenever we're bringing this leg over to the side like this, we're putting ourselves slightly in danger in the fact that he's able to crush the legs down, we've exposed the back a little bit, maybe he can do something with that. What we're gonna do with this next one is we're not gonna bring this shin or leg over the top. We're gonna leave that where it is. So to set this up though, we're gonna take our hand through and we're gonna put it into my partner's armpit. My second hand is going to go into the same position, but then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my legs, I'm going to use my arms to pull myself underneath and get to this position. But you notice I haven't had to bring my leg over and I haven't made it quite as dangerous for myself. But we kind of end up in the same position. What I'm going to try to do with this leg here is I'm going to try to butterfly it in behind my partner's leg. Then I'm going to bring this leg over the top and I'm going to start to reap through on my partner. So right through, if I can get my legs triangled up, perfect, or even just put my leg behind my partner's leg, that's what I'm looking for. But basically, I've pinched this in super duper tight so that if he now tries to release the knee line, it's difficult. Keeping this leg high is going to help with that. If his leg is flatter, it's going to be an easier out for him to pull the knee through. As soon as I start to pick or bend this in, if he tries to put his knee out now, it's just not going anywhere. Then we're going to reach through. Again, as always, armpit through, connect the hands, and then turn in for the finish. So just a slightly safer way for us to enter in on the leg lock. So a hand is going to come through into the arm. We're going to dive underneath the leg. And just basically like we did before, we're going to look to center our hips up underneath our partner. So this leg now, I'm going to look to get the butterfly hook in behind. Then I'm going to bring this leg over the top, just like we're reaping through. Now, if we were doing a normal ankle lock here, like IBJJF legal, we'd want to keep our heel here. But we're going to bring it all the way through and reap, and either bring the foot next to or we can triangle it in behind. Whichever one works fine. But key for control of the detail, because he's going to want to run away from this. I want to make sure I keep this foot high. If I allow his foot to come low, it's a real easy out for his knee to slide through. Keep the foot high in the air, lock in, connect, turn, and finish. Again, be real careful, especially with the reap, because we're bringing it over the top, putting that pressure on the knee. But once we've got them set in that position, super difficult for them to do much from there. Getting their knee free, or even once we've locked onto that second leg, even rolling out. Okay? Let's do it. 1, 2, 3.